Look for more horror to be unleashed upon comic shops this week. Remember, these aren't reviews per se, but simple reminders that horror is alive and well in comic books. Here's what's new in comic book horror this week, March 8th, 2023.
Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications.
Let's check out This Week in Comic Book Horror, March 8th, 2023. Let's start off with a couple of comics that blend rock and roll with horror. The Concert from Hell continues in KILLCHELLA number 3 from Scout Comics. The story is by Mario Candelaria with art by Lautaro, Havlovich. This one has the crazed fans of a pop star rampaging through a popular music festival. And over in Black Tape number 2 from AWA Upshot, the widow of a rock star tries to cope with his death and decide whether she should play his last tapes, which might very well summon the devil himself. This one's by Dan Panosian and Dalibor Talajić. There's just one comic out there that bears
ass, titties, ass and titties
on its covers. But Vampirella vs. Red Sonja number 5 from Dynamite Entertainment doubles down on the when it pits the she-devil with a sword against the vampire alien with a Stories by Dan Abnett, with art by Alessandro Ranaldi. Some of the best horror comics come from outside of the mainstream. Here are some horror comics from small press and smaller publishers that are just as scary and sometimes more scary than the big two. It's Winged Death from Above versus a monster from below the depths in Godzilla Rivals MOTHRA vs. TOTANOSAURUS, number 1, from IDW Publishing. The story is by Blue Delliquanti, with art by Ferio Wind. Creepy children begin to gain power when the black sun that shone darkly when they were born shines again when they are older. Ablaze's Children of the Black Sun number 3 is Village of the Damned, with some body horror and superpowers tossed in. It's by Dario, Sicchio, and Letizia Cadonici. Aaron Campbell, Tim Seeley, and Jim Terry's West of Sundown number 9 from Vault Comics offers up more Western horror with mad scientists, Native American concoctions, and of course, vampires. And if you're looking for a new horror anthology to dive into, look no further than Cyanide Camp from Reptile House Comics. It's got all sorts of kooky and spooky stories, and the best thing about these anthologies is that if you don't like one of these stories, the next one just might tingle your spine. Contributors to this anthology are Nicole Rodrigues, Tia Roxe, Christian Santiago, Evika Boker, Ella Boker, Gabriel Mason Howell, Eden D., Pleatherface, cool name, Priz Gannett, and Nick Bunch. This Week in Marvel Horror offers up a pair of titles. Bloodline, Daughter of Blade number 2, is by Danny Lore and Karen S. Darbo. I wasn't a fan of the first issue of this series. It was way too talky, not enough vampires, very little action, and no Blade until the final page. I guess Blade actually shows up in this issue, and I'm willing to give the series another shot, but honestly, Marvel should focus on giving Blade a successful monthly series of his own before spinning the concept off with his daughter. Ed Brisson and Nito Diaz brings forth Predator number 1. It's a new Predator series, again written by Brisson. In this one, the Predators are hunting a group of humans on an alien world, but something even more terrifying is hunting the Predators. I've been digging Marvel's new Predator series and look forward to seeing what new artist Nito Diaz has to offer. Week after week, Image Comics always has something terrifying for the shelves. This week in Image Horror, we've got Spawn number 339 by Rory McConneville and Carlo Barberi. The throne of hell is being overtaken by a new force of evil, and Spawn has to team up with his arch nemesis in order to combat him. I'm guessing it's the Violator. But I'm not reading this series, so basically I'm just naming names of characters I know in the Spawn universe, which isn't many. Anyway, Spawn fans seem to be excited about all of this, and I'm excited that they're excited. Finally, here's my horror comic of the week, Blood Tree #2 from Image Comics. The story's by Peter J. Tomasi with art by Maxim Simic. One of my favorite writers, Peter Tomasi, delivers a hard-edged detective story as a pair of detectives try to track down a serial killer, dropping dead bodies dressed as angels all over the city. The first issue was a slow burn, but I'm hoping things pick up in the second one of this bloody good series. Well, that's it for this week's haul. Let me know which horror comics look good to you down in the comments.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. Live the life that you are meant to be. Live inside that reality.